as much as possible to move fast so that I will not be chased away from there. My name is Wale Adedokun, and I work with Ahmadu University area. Okay, so this discussion that we will have very quickly, I will take it from not an academic perspective alone, but I will also add some technical perspective to it. Basically because I've lived my few number of years
Yes, here we have more on us.
Sorry, while they are trying to sort out the presentation, let me ask a very generic question for DICTs that are here. You know, there is something that we call the power of small money. Okay? So, as a DICT, before you go out of this place today, if the DG of leader is here, if he decides to give you 20 million naira each, to go and do something in your institution, what will you do with it? That's where I'm supposed to stop, because I want us to brainstorm. So I need you to write down what you will do with it. Then we will discuss by the time I finish. That's where planning, policy and planning comes into play. Okay? Some people will say 20 million naira is small. Some will be so excited. Some will be confused, they don't know what to do with it. Okay, so I want you to write down what you will do with 20 million naira. Don't play with it though, because if you pass, the DJ of leader is here, anything can happen. Okay. Alright, so we are looking at, is it corrupt? Like I said, please just write down what you will do with 20 million. I know the country is hard, things are expensive, but 20 million naira is a lot of money. So let's see what you do with it. Okay, now, can you imagine a student, a final year student, who needs to submit an assignment online, and is finding it difficult to do so because the portal or the LMS of the university crashed overnight, and he has deadline. Can you just begin to imagine what happens to the student, the state of mind of the student, how the students will be able to compose to even do any other thing, knowing that there is a deadline, yet you cannot reach the system where you are supposed to submit. So, when we begin to talk about strategy and policy, these are the things that enables a system to run the way they are supposed to run. Now, I don't know if you have seen some very interesting statistics of recent. I've not reached this place. If you have seen some very interesting statistics of recent, UNESCO said that institutions with well-structured ICT policy or strategy, they are likely to achieve whatsoever their administrative and academic goals are. At least they are likely to achieve at least 40% of it. Now, you will discover also that failed projects, if you have heard of failed projects, ICT, I'm sure neither Telfon will be able to tell us more, that the number of failed projects, you have ICT as probably one of the largest of them. And why do you have that? You have that basically because of lack of some level of planning and strategy. NUC report 2023 says only 30% of Nigerian universities have functional ICT policy. I don't know if we are moved away from that. It's not saying you don't have ICT policy, yet functional ICT policy. Now, if we continue that trend, then we begin to have issues. So, ICT policy, ICT strategic planning, let me try to describe them not the way I wrote them here. When you talk of a policy, see a policy like the things you think you will need, and you want to sit down to ask yourself, what are the things we will need? Okay, we need to buy a car, or we need to build a house. We need to build lecture rooms. If we need to build lecture rooms to accommodate our students, how do we build these lecture rooms? Why should we build lecture rooms? If we want to build the lecture rooms, what kind of seats? What is going to guide the way we build our lecture rooms? The roof, what color will the roof, the door, how will the lecture room look like? Then you go back to the planning, and you now sit down and begin to plan, put in place goals that will align with the you begin to put in place goals, a roadmap that will align with the vision you have before you put down the policy. So the goals, the roadmap will be the one that will define where you are going to build, where you are going to build, the reason why you want to build, the people that will be responsible for the building, how often do you want to build, how will you maintain the building after you are finished. So that talks about the planning. When you finish building, how will you sustain that building? You need to think of electricity. Electricity bill is going up now. So if you continue to build and you have lecture theaters with big ACs inside, how much bill are you adding to your institution? So all those things you need to put them in perspectives. Now, how do you maintain that particular building? That's where we talk about sustainability. If you don't put all those things in place, after 5 years, the lecture rooms, all the chairs will have broken, nobody will repair them, the roof will be coming down, there will not be windows, ACs will be gone. So if you don't put all those things in place, then you are not planning to have a sustainable project. So basically, I mean, in a layman language, that's the way I will describe ICT policy and strategy. We'll get to a point to look at the two of them. They look very similar, but they are not the same thing. Most often than not, we have the policy on ground, but we don't have a plan to implement the policies. So, why are we talking about ICT in tertiary institution? I don't think we should even be discussing this. ICT in tertiary institution, any institution today that does not prioritize ICT cannot go anywhere. Can't go anywhere. So, you talk of digital classrooms, you talk of LMS. We tell our students, our colleagues in my department, that most of our students today, they come to class out of respect for us. It's not because we are teaching them what they don't know. They will find what you are teaching them on YouTube. A better teacher is on YouTube that is teaching them. They will find it on Instagram. So when they come to class, in fact, some of the things you are seeing, as you are seeing them, they are doing Google to know whether you are telling lies or not. So they come to class basically because they respect you. And they feel that if you don't come to class, there may be trouble. Not because you are really impacting on them. So you begin to understand that when you are ICT director or you are a policy maker, a decision maker in the tertiary institution today, without ICT, there is no teaching, there is no learning that will be effective. The same thing with research. You can do your research very easily now with anybody, anywhere in the world. Collaboration becomes very easy with ICT tools. If you ask people that are teaching and doing research, if anybody is in the room today, if they don't have internet access, it's as if you are taking them into the out of the world, because basically they can't do anything. Also, administration. Administration becomes much easier. Professor Tanko has left, but if we begin to talk of administration and automation of our systems within the university or tertiary education system, without ICT, quite a number of these things become very, very difficult to do. Okay, so I'll try to explain this. When we talk of governance, we talk of compliance, we talk of risk management. These are the things that are supposed to be part of the policies that you put together. Now, I'll talk about risk management. You know, as Africans or maybe Nigerians, we don't like risk. When you talk about this may happen, somebody will say, God forbid. The fact that you say God forbid does not mean it will not happen. Okay? So, when you are doing a policy and you don't have a risk policy, your policy is not complete. Part of your ICT policy should include risk. The things that you think they may likely happen. Like you have a portal that you are hosting in your data center on a server. Look, that server can crash. Okay? You can do all night there praying. You will not wake up the server that has crashed. What do? You should plan. You should envisage that you may have a crash. So what is your plan? What are you putting in place to ensure that if there is a crash, the downtime is going to be very, very minimal? So when you talk of ICT policy, check your policy. If you don't have a risk profile in your policy is not complete. I know we don't like that as probably Nigerians. Then your planning. I will look at some of this a bit more in details, but when you pick your policy and you discover that it is time for us now to move away from doing Viva face-to-face to now doing Viva virtually. The student can be in Canada, the external examiner can be in Saudi Arabia, the school can be in Zaria, everybody can be wherever they want, and yet you can do. When you have that, and you are able to align that to the vision of your institute or your institution, now you now need to begin to look at how you are going to measure what you are doing. Your strategic planning should include metrics that will help you to be able to measure whether you are doing well, or you are not doing well, whether you are achieving the vision or you are not achieving the vision. Okay, so I try to just put a table that compares ICT policy and ICT strategy. ICT policy basically, provide a guiding principle. Most often than not, policy are very high level things that ordinary person, if you just pick the policy, maybe just one statement that defines, but by the time you want to develop a strategy to achieve that policy, it may be a whole book. So ICT policy is more of something that talks about why and what What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve it? It's a very high level thing and it is long term. Basically, policymakers, they decide what their policies look like. So, there was a time when I was still a techie, before I joined the academics. I had a new ICT director, and I was the head of network infrastructure. So he came to office that day, and he said, "Hey, I need your support." I said, "Sir, we are here to support you, but what is your vision? What's your policy? What do you want to achieve?" Then he started looking at me. "How can I support you if I don't know what you want to achieve?" Then everybody will just do whatsoever they like. So even as ICT directors, as individuals, do you have what you want to achieve? Aligning with the policy of your institution. Is it because they just appointed you as a director because you know the person, you have long leg? Even at that, you should have something that you want to achieve, because that is what is going to be your driving force. And whatsoever you want to achieve should align with the vision and the mission of your institution. Okay, so strategy, like I said earlier, defines actionable steps. The things you will do at every point in time, you are able to define the steps and the plans. So your ICT strategy answers the question, how do we want to do it? We want to build a house, how do we want to do it? When do we want to do it? Alright? So it is operational. Planning is operational. It's probably short term or long term for you to be able to achieve something in particular. And most often than not, it is actually the responsibility of the ICT managers and their foot soldiers to be able to achieve planning. Okay, so everybody will be saying we have challenges. Yeah, we have challenges in this country. I mean, we have challenges. Funding is one major problem. We have limited resources. In fact, everywhere in the world, even Americans, they have challenges. Everybody. So having funding problem is not peculiar to us. However, the little that you have, that's why I want you, I would pick like 5-6 people to tell us what they will do with 20 million. And the DG of NIDA will decide who wins at the end of the day. Okay? So, the same thing with infrastructure. The same thing with infrastructure. But I will tell you some of the stories that I've been part of over the years. I went to a university. In fact, I used to forget that I was ICT director at that point. But I went to a university that they did not have, all they do with their exams is just paperwork. And they don't have resources. When it is exam time, they will go and take papers and toners on credit. I mean, because you need a lot of paper. So one day we were doing management retreats, and somebody just pointed at me. I joined them just less than 3 weeks. He said, "Is there not a way that we can solve this problem? Can't we do CBT exams?" I said, "It's not impossible. I'll just give me 2 weeks and I will be there." So I just put together a few people, and in 2 weeks we had a system running. The exam for that semester, just very few, I was also teaching. So I made my exam to be a CBT exam because everybody was putting back that it wasn't going to work. But by the time I left that university, they had to develop a fresh timetable for CBT exams, because the number of people that wanted to do CBT exams are gone beyond what they could manage. Why? The day I did my exam, I had well over 200 students. The second day I submitted my results. When they were doing conference marking, I was laughing at them. I did not need anybody to go and borrow paper and toner because of my exam. So the dynamics changed just overnight. All right, so we need to understand that even the little that we have, we can make use of them, and we are going to change the landscape of things around us. Now, this has to do with us as ICT managers. Yeah, we have skills shortages, but the ones we have, they are very intelligent people. They may be young, but Nigeria has one of the most intelligent technical people on the surface of the earth. I've been to so many places, I've seen Nigeria work, and I know we may have shortage of them, but the ones that we have, if we take very good care of them. Okay, so best practices when we talk of strategic planning, what are the things we need to do? Ensure that you do proper needs assessment. Doing strategic planning is not 2 or 3 people in a committee sitting down and drawing something. Do proper needs assessment. Involve all stakeholders, including students. You need to bring them on the table, hear from them, understand what they are looking at in the next 5 years, in the next 6 years, in fact, in the next 3 months. Understand from them. Those students are very intelligent, and they have gone far ahead of us. So it's better you listen to them and hear their opinion. Okay? Now, when you do this, you will now be able to prioritize. And that's why the issue of 20 million comes in. I know all of us have more than 10 or 15 projects that you want to do. Some of them will cost 100 million if you have done your proper strategic planning. Some of them will cost 5 million. So when you get 5 million naira today, you know the project you can finish with that 5 million. You have put priorities there, not shopping lists. Real strategic plan with priorities. Okay, so it should be inclusive. The drafting should be inclusive. You should try as much as possible to benchmark the policy you are developing with policies all over the place. This is internet time. There is hardly anything you will not find on the internet. My next slide gives you a bit of some of the ones that are world standard that you can look at. Then you should set a period to always review your policies. Our field is a rapid changing field. So you cannot have something forever. You should set a period. So whether it's every 5 years or every 10 years, you should review. These are some of the ones that you can pick. There are quite a number of Nigerian universities that have very good policies on their website. Now, look at success. When it comes to strategic planning and policies, I've worked with Covenant Universities, OAU. OAU happened to be probably the first university that lit fiber on their campus several years ago. Second, who was the first? No. When OAU laid theirs, in fact, there was no technical know-how. The first one they laid, the contractor laid multi-mode for them instead of single mode. So they had to repeat. But I'm just saying that OAU was the first university, or first university that laid fiber here. And University of Jos probably was the first university that had online portal for student registration. That was early 2000. Okay? So there have been quite a number of innovations and development in our institutions. Ahmadu Bello University area laid the largest or the longest fiber in any West African university by the time they finished the fiber. And the fiber ran Cisco all the way from core even to access. Cisco all through. It was a project that even Cisco themselves, they were so proud of, they put it on their website many times. It's still there. So there have been quite a number of innovations, there have been quite a number of developments within our success stories, within our client here in Nigeria that we should all be proud of. Okay, role of leadership. Vice chancellors, all of them have left. Vice chancellors should know, or vice chancellors, provosts, rectors of tertiary institutions, they should know that they have to be in the forefront of planning and policy. I work with 2 or 3 vice chancellors, different institutions, that those vice chancellors, they may not be able to do anything with ICT, but they made up their mind. This one, we are going to achieve it. My vice chancellor in Libya, when we are developing, we are building the fiber optics. If we want to enter his office, all his principal officers will beg us to please allow them to go in first and come out. Because if we enter, the man has an exit door. If we go into the place and say, sir, we just finished something, we want you to come and see it, we will go out from the exit door. Nobody will know. They will be sitting in the waiting room. They want to see him, but we are gone out. And that happened all through his tenure. The man gave the political will. You may not be able to do. It's not all about money. It's about the will that will enable your ICT directors and your food soldiers to be able to achieve the vision of building ICT in that institution. Okay? And the ICT directors also need to understand very clearly that the implementation of any policy is on their table. You should be up and doing to ensure that this policy is not just paper. It is something that you will bring into full implementation. And the governing councils should, as much as possible, ensure that they monitor the implementation of these policies very well and give all the political will they can get to those institutions too. All right, so the ICT we talk about today has changed very seriously. And we talk about quite a number of emerging technologies and trends that we use in the institutions today. We talk of artificial intelligence, we talk of cloud computing, we talk of e-learning, we talk of virtual reality. One of the things we have not seen happening in Nigeria is actually virtual reality. Quite a number of institutions, even in South Africa, they started training their doctors with use of virtual reality. You can use virtual reality to even perform surgery. Now, these are things that we need to. The world is already there, but we are still far behind. All right. I thought you had to mention. I'm almost done. Okay, so I'll talk of KPIs. When you are doing your strategic planning, ensure that there are KPIs, performance indicators, something that will be very clear to everybody. This particular line, if you see this, we have achieved it. This one, if you see this happen, we have achieved this. So, and you should put a look-back system that will give you feedback, proper feedback about whatsoever you are doing. And regular assessment is very important. Don't assess yourself. Allow students to assess. Give them the privilege to assess you. That is what will tell you whether you are making progress or you are not making progress. So, call for action. Every institution should prioritize their ICT planning. They should build capacity. Capacity building must be something that is continuous. You cannot stop it. Continue to build capacity in people. Invest in infrastructure. When you have good infrastructure, a lot of your issues will just be solved. And as much as possible, collaborate with other institutions. I've seen quite a number, we have done quite a number of things that we try to build a lot of collaboration. IDP has been all over the place. Identity Federation has been all over the place that we have been talking about for so many years that has not been done. If a library in one institution is buying a particular software database, why should another library in the same state buy the same? Why can't we collaborate? You buy this one, I buy this one, your students will have access to mine, my students will have access to you, and we are able to manage our resources in a better way. ICT enables us to be able to do this. But this territorialism is affecting us a lot and it's not making us before. Collaboration is key. All right, my final thought. Without ICT strategy and policy, a 21st century education is like this car. No matter how beautiful the car is, If it doesn't have engine, it goes nowhere. Okay, so in conclusion, ICT strategy and policies are essential. They are no longer optional. They are things that you must have. I've seen quite a number of donor institutes that want to give money, but if they can't find your policy, you are nowhere. They will not bother about you. Okay? Your strategy and your policy determines how competitive you are. Quite a number of people today, even if I want to travel, I will look for, if I want to travel, the first thing I will go is go on the internet to check the weather, to check good hotels, to check whether they used to rob people around the place. These are the things that have become, and that is what people also do when they want to do any business with any institution. When they want to give people money, when they want to start center of excellence, they look at all these things. If you don't have them, that's why they are not calling you. Okay? So our manager should ensure that all these things happen. Now, back to my question. 6 people, what do you do with 20 million naira? The owner of the money is there. Yes, one person. Yes, sir. Tell us very quickly. If we give you 20 million naira now, what will you do? People are joking with me. You think I can't give you 20 million?
First of all, set up internet infrastructure in school, which we are isolated.
Okay, science infrastructure. Yes, sir. My director, so that I will not get sacked before I get home.
Yes, you mentioned that we have extensive fiber in order to connect our homes. Advice on terms of fiber and for the fiber.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, let's take a few minutes.
Yes, I'll get more computer for reading center.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Capacity building is now.
Capacity building is number one. Now, I leave it to you. You want to say something?
Well, I will plan and prioritize.
You are supposed to have finished your plan. If you are just planning, it means you don't have any plan.
The 6 people there, please.
Okay. Fiber optic termination. Who else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will network, I will concentrate on one faculty network and install our backup.
Thank you. Which kind of power factor? 20 million naira. Yes, sir.
I will do a comprehensive power for my data center.
Comprehensive with 20 million. Thank you. How many lithium batteries will you buy? Yes, sir. Last one. Eh?
Data center.
You will build a data center. God bless you.
Round of applause.
I will leave the money back to the design who will give the money.
Who won the money?
Please, let's appreciate Professor Wale Adedokun.